You've heard it all over the internet. If you want to get your avoidant ex back, you basically have to act like they're not important to you. And while you're at it, don't ever let them see any of your anxiety. If you accidentally let any of your anxious triggers show, you might as well throw a stick of dynamite in the whole thing and start all over again, building attraction with your avoidant ex. You have to give this person more space than they're giving you. You have to be colder than cold. You have to make sure that they feel like you hate them almost, and you're never coming back. Okay, so wait a second. Basically, in order to get someone back that we love, we have to treat them like crap. And then when they come running back to us, we've won? Hello, friends. My name is Maria, and I've had my share of exes trying to come back into my life once I had made it clear that I had moved on. People who come back into your life once it seems like you are finally happy and moving forward. They're mainly doing it for self-serving purposes. You know, one of the biggest questions I get when I talk to people on my encouragement phone sessions is, Maria, have you ever really had an ex come back? And you know what? I sure have, but not until I became unstoppable. And if you want to learn how this happens, then grab a bottle of nail polish and let's talk. If you've just gone through a really traumatic breakup, especially with someone like a dismissive avoidant who tends to blindside you and traumatize you, I'm sure you've been online asking Google and YouTube videos, really anyone who will listen, how do I get over this breakup? Because it gets to a point where the pain is so extreme, we just want to get out from underneath it. The trouble with a lot of this advice is the people giving it, either they're giving you advice on how to get your avoidant ex back, or they're giving you advice on how to get over a breakup, but they themselves have never been through a breakup with someone who has more of an avoidant attachment. They don't understand that while they're sitting there giving you all of this advice, like start a new hobby, get into a new relationship, go out with all your new friends, start a business, get out there. You can't even get off of your couch. And I would like to do something a little bit different today. I'd like to share with you a short video and comment on it that I watched a few years ago when I was going through a particularly devastating breakup. It was comforting to me. And the first time I watched it, sometimes we're so broken in that moment, we can't absorb everything right away. And there's a lot of moving parts to healing. There's no one video that's going to be a magic bullet. But I'll tell you, after I got a little stronger and did a few more small steps that I'll talk about later in the video to help with the healing, I went back and watched the video again. And it was like, yeah, okay. And then it got to a point where the third time I watched the video, I was kind of just watching it because it's a really good message. And it turns out she was right about a lot of things. So let's go ahead and give that video a listen, and I'll tell you what I think about it along the way.
Letting go can make you unstoppable. I know because I let go of a relationship and reclaimed my life. And I know that letting go can create the best of change for each and every one of you. Let me tell you a story. When I was 41, the death of a relationship showed me how to truly let go of what wasn't working. I had a great job, great friends, a great apartment, and a great boyfriend. Well, sort of. See, Hector didn't have any skin in the game, and I felt that. He danced around the very idea of marriage, and after 12 years, we didn't even live together.
Hector didn't have any skin in the game. It is so important when you are in a relationship with someone that they are investing in you, not just to go out on a date with you and not just to hook up with you. I mean, consistently, even in small ways at first, there's something that they're doing, driving to your house, paying for meals, they're texting you, they're initiating texts, There has to be some kind of skin in the game. And yeah, exactly like what she said. He had no skin in the game and she felt it. How much do you want to bet that that played on her anxious tendencies?
Still, he gave me hope. Well, sometimes. More like living in a situation that had no hope just felt normal.
And that's the thing about these attachment styles that we have, or not even attachment styles, it's just relating to one another. It's not about some people are good and some people are bad. Some people work together and some people don't.
And while our relationship wasn't perfect, it worked in theory. Until a wake-up call from a friend changed everything. So my realtor friend called to tell me about a condo coming up for sale in my Chicago neighborhood. She knew that I was looking for Hector to commit and thought, well, maybe this could inspire a little forward motion. Not yet. That was Hector's favorite catchphrase. I would say, I want to get married. He'd say, not yet. I'd say, let's live together. Not yet. Not yet was a hair I couldn't get out of my eye and a bad song I couldn't get out of my head.
Yeah. How anxious do you think this relationship made this poor woman to always be the one reaching, asking, probably chasing after 12 years? It's no longer pursuing. You are chasing somebody and you never know where you stand with them. Now, I understand that mystery can be very attractive and you want to be the story that the other person doesn't want to stop reading. You always want to have something going on, and it makes life and relationships interesting. But this isn't mystery. This is just someone for 12 years putting their hand up in your face saying, I'm not sure about you, not yet. So gosh, yeah, I'm sure this would turn anyone into a nervous wreck. Anyone.
So you could imagine my surprise when he said sure to meeting me at the condo at noon.
Intermittent positive reinforcement. Okay.
Now, I arrived early and eager, but Hector, well, that was another story. 12:15 came, 12:30, 12:45, 1 o'clock, no Hector. Eventually, he called, something has come up, so we agreed to reconvene at 3. But Hector was a no-show again.
Yeah, okay. Not necessarily a bad person, but definitely not a good boyfriend.
It was in that moment that I decided, after 12 years, it was time to let go. See, I had to let go of Hector and of the idea of marrying him or anybody, because at 41, my options were scary. I could either stay with a man who couldn't commit but was great on all the holidays and birthdays, or I could break up with him and be alone. Not that letting go of a good man I truly loved was easy. No, I had to survive the consequences of my epiphany, and that's when the pain stage kicked in. You and Hector won't be together forever. You won't be his person. In fact, he'll probably meet somebody else fast, marry her, and she'll be his person. And then you're gonna have to live with the fact that you made a mistake. I ugly cried, ate a lot of pizza, listened to a lot of Joni Mitchell. And then, when I couldn't rub my eyes anymore without hitting bone, or imagine Hector in a wedding photo with another woman, I brushed myself off. See, I let go of the fear that I would grow old and die alone. No, in that moment, I had to finally admit what I really wanted, which was more. You see, Hector not showing up, that was a gift in that it gave me my freedom because, let's face it, I've been chasing that ball for 12 years. No, it was time to move on, even if I risked rejection. So I made a plan, one that got clearer with every step. Of course, Hector had an excuse for his no-show, but by then it didn't matter. I told him it was over. I quit my job, I hugged my friends, I sold my beautiful condo in the same neighborhood that delivered me that life-changing epiphany. I let go of everything to start a whole new life in New Hope, Pennsylvania. To which he said, "Don't go, we'll get married." To which I said, "You had 12 years. To which he said, "I'll come visit." To which I said, "Not yet."
Yeah, she was done. She decided to become unstoppable. Good for her. And I'll tell you, if you try to take advice in these videos about how to get your avoidant ex back, and you play these games where you pretend that you don't love someone so they come running back to you, or you're in any kind of a situation where you have to give someone an ultimatum and they're like, okay, we'll get married. There's a lot of really devastating consequences to that. And I promise you, even if this person decides to date you again or even marry you, you have a relationship with two people who don't feel like they're in it of their own free will, the relationship is not going to thrive. Yeah, I'll bet that letting go of this was one of the hardest things she's ever done. But that's what she meant in the beginning of the video when she said letting go made her unstoppable. Because once you do the unthinkable, the thing that you don't believe you can ever do, which is let go, and you teach your nervous system that you can get through this breakup, and you will survive it, and that you can get to the other side of it. After going through a breakup with a dismissive avoidant person who blindsides you and traumatizes you, you start to feel like if you can let go of that, you can let go of damn near anything.
Was it hard? Oh, you bet. Was it worth it? Within a year of leaving, I met my husband Dan online. I knew when he showed up for our first date in the most wrinkled shirt I have ever seen, with a rain hat to keep me dry walking from the restaurant to the car, that this was my guy.
Yeah, and look at her smiling looking back at this. I'm sure this guy was also wearing a rain hat, and maybe he looked a little silly in his wrinkled shirt, but welcome to the other half, where we know attraction is not just about looks. We also have to take care of the inner half. Because if we're not confident in who we really are, we'll show up on a first date to a sushi restaurant, pull out our lightsaber chopsticks, and if the person that we're with starts to laugh at us or makes fun of us, we'll put the chopsticks away and we'll probably never bring them out in public ever again. And I'm getting this from a video that went viral that really bothered me. It was about a gentleman who showed up on a first date with a woman. I'm sure they met online. And he pulled out his lightsaber chopsticks, and the woman is just beating him up, filming him, putting it on social media, and making fun of him to the entire world, which says a lot more about her, by the way. She's the one who does not deserve the second date. But I'll tell you, a while back, I went to a restaurant with a couple of very good friends of mine, and he pulled out his lightsaber chopsticks. And you know who he was there with? His wife, who loved him for all of his funny quirks. She loved him for exactly who he was. And at the very least, she either was someone who enjoyed the lightsaber chopsticks, or she really didn't care that he was using them, because she loved her husband and she just wanted him to be himself, because she loved him for who he is. That's why she married him. And if he had showed up on their first date and he could hide who he was and never pull out those chopsticks, it's not sustainable, because eventually the chopsticks are gonna come out. It's better to find sooner than later the kind of people you are really compatible with, and we don't have to do this by showing up to dates and spilling our guts about all of our traumas and all of our fears. Pull out a set of lightsaber chopsticks. You'll find out real quick who's for you and who is not.
Finally, I understood why I had to wait so long. Dan was handsome and wise and soulful and kind, and he made me feel like I could do and be anything. We could. And we got married a year later.
You can do and be anything.
When I turned 50, Hector died of cancer. And as you can imagine, I grieved for a very long time. But his death reaffirmed for me the promise I made to myself when I was 41, which that I would never take time for granted again. Instead, I would use it to let go, to create space for the things I really wanted and for what mattered most. Here are 5 ways to let go I know work because I still use them every single day. 1, let go of taking things personally. Now, I'm not saying that wasn't a hard pill to swallow, but there was a lot of peace in knowing that it was his issue and not some defect in me. If people aren't giving you what you want, or if they're just behaving badly, most times, that's their problem, not yours. 2, let go of what other people think. Whenever you're putting something out there, 10% of people will hate it, 80% will be indifferent, and 10% will be your raving fans. And raving fans are awesome. But if somebody's not a raving fan, let that be okay too. 3, let go of trying to be something you're not.
Let go of this idea that you are going to get your avoidant ex back by being someone that you're not, by being someone who is indifferent and uncaring and cold and is okay with taking a lot of space in relationships. You know, we don't want to try to fit ourselves into relationships that aren't letting us be ourselves.
4, let go of the need to be perfect. There are some things we just can't change about ourselves, and that's a good thing. And lastly, 5, my favorite, let go of not yet.
Let go of people who are not sure about you. It's okay to take a lot of time to get to know someone. And when we first start dating people, of course, we're not going to be sure about them. But it does get to a point, and it's usually within like the first 4 to 8 months, where we know, we have a feeling in our gut that either we don't really like this person, or maybe they're just not that into us. And we need to make sure that we learn how to listen to this voice and try not to let our attachment wounds make us feel like, exactly like what she said, like if we were just more perfect, we could get this person to love us. No one is perfect, but I promise you, you will find someone who does love you for all of your flaws and even your anxious tendencies. They'll know that you get anxious and they'll be willing to talk to you about it. They won't be running away from you.
If there's something you want to do, make a plan and act, but don't wait. And I encourage you all to do the same. Whatever that is, I say, let go for it. Thank you.
And you will notice this woman, as far as I can tell, never changed anything about herself. The only thing she changed was the kind of people that she was willing to allow to remain in her life. People like the man she ended up marrying, a guy who knew that he wanted to be with her and he wasn't willing to miss an opportunity to be with her. And that's what a lot of these videos do. They say, oh, you want to make your avoidant ex feel like they're going to miss this opportunity to be with you. Well, you know what? They are going to miss an opportunity to be with you, because if you actually realistically took the advice in these silly avoidant ex back videos and you didn't care about your ex and you were moving forward and you were doing all of these grand steps, then trust me, by the time your avoidant ex realized what they were going to miss and tried to come back to you, you would not care. And that's the main flaw in all of this advice. And it compels people to live their life inauthentically, acting like they're the kind of person who doesn't care. Well, you know what? I've been hurt in love too. I'm sure that we all have once you reach a certain age. And I'm okay with being the kind of person who cares about it. I've seen people, try to slam anxious people in the comments and be like, oh, you're going to become an avoidant too. Those people are very unhappy. It is only unhappy people who get kind of a thrill about ruining someone's day or someone being unhappy. When you are truly happy, you want other people to be happy. And while I don't necessarily think you're in a place right now where you would be okay tearing up the social scene and starting a grand hobby and starting that brand new career you've always wanted, because again, you can't get off the couch. There are small steps that you can take. And if my videos resonate with you, then these steps will help you just as much as they help me. And I'll link the video down below. It's called Transform Yourself After a Catastrophic Breakup. These are tiny little steps that you take, and it's not overnight. But as you go through the steps, over time you become stronger, and then you can take bigger steps and bigger steps. And that is the time where you become so strong that now you're ready to take that leap. Now maybe you're okay with trying to go out with someone new, or getting out there and trying a new hobby or a new class, or maybe starting a new business. And you might find that once you go through this healing process, some of your exes, they're gonna notice and they're going to want you back. But I would say, why don't you take a cue from your own avoidant ex and run as fast as you can in a different direction. And then I'll bet you that you will want to turn around. And I always appreciate you sharing the videos, or just share anything that you have learned about letting go and becoming unstoppable, because you take the small steps and they give you the confidence to take the big steps, and then the sky is the limit. And whether or not you are headed towards a new career, a new place to live, a new relationship, it's gonna be love at first flight. My name is Maria Adriana. You did not have to live my life, but I certainly hope you can learn something from it. As always, thank you for visiting. The Other Half.